is quiet in here. All right. Has anybody had any tragic, no, let's go the opposite way. Any great heat stories? Great heat stories, because it's been hot, right?
I got to work in the air conditioning all week.
Amen. There we go. There's one right there. Anybody else?
The air conditioning at my work stayed on all week.
Nice. That's a praise right there too. Excellent. Anybody else? Because there's been some horrible stories.
To my AC when I got home.
Another praise. Yes. It has been hot, hot, hot. And I feel sorry for anybody that has to work outside. I mean, I feel horrible. Our AC man came in the other day and he was working on some of the stuff for us, I think for the second time this week. And he said one day he had to go home early because he had heat stroke, and he was supposed to come to my house because I was having some AC issues. And he said, I'll be there this afternoon. And he never showed up. So I called him and FaceTimed him. And as I was showing him my problems, and he was at home, which he lives just down the street from me, but he wasn't coming over. So I was like, why is this guy not coming over? And then 2 days later, he's like, yeah, I had heat stroke. I'm like, makes sense. Yeah. So anyways, so it has been rough out there. And I thought today, let's start with a video. Hopefully the video rolls. And maybe some of you, wait, before you roll it, has anybody got siblings? Everybody got siblings? Anybody not have siblings? You don't have siblings? You're an only child? Okay, then you won't understand this at all, okay? But for people who have siblings, especially...
I don't know, he watches his kids, so maybe he sees.
Maybe, all right, but you got two, so this will be a little bit different. So this will maybe make you want to have three. Let's roll this.
Nope, I'm good.
Nope.
I can't find... Hello. Why are you looking at me like that? You're putting the... This is cooler. Do you want to do this? Guarantee he does. No, it's fine. It's fine. It just cleans better. This is a dishwasher. It doesn't make any difference. It makes no difference. Unbelievable. It makes all the difference. It's like precision, details. Like a surgeon. You're overthinking it. Compare washing dishes to surgery. It's a health hazard. Thanks. I hate to break it to you guys, but if you just leave your dishes in the exact same spot you ate, they're back in the cupboard and perfectly clean the next day. Like magic. Works every time. Even if you leave it in your bedroom. Mom!
Everybody got 3 kids? Yeah? Can you relate to some of that? Justice, can you relate to some of that?
If you swap the youngest in the middle, maybe.
No, not at all.
No. Kennedy does nothing.
I know, that's why she's the youngest. Did you see the youngest? He doesn't do anything. Even the dishes magically appear back in there. That is definitely the youngest. The messy child? Yeah, we know who that is, right? Anybody else? Merrick, you got siblings? Yep. Can you relate to any of this? No?
I'm not that youngest kid.
Some families are swapped. Yeah, you're the, I don't know. I don't remember which one you are. But definitely your sister was you might switch with the oldest sister, and she might be the younger.
I feel like Briar's definitely the oldest.
Oh, yeah.
But me and Connor, I feel share the youngest, and then Brandon. If only you guys knew the right way to do all of it.
If only you knew. Can you turn these up just the slide up just a little bit? So as I was thinking about this story, we've been talking about the brothers here, and Genesis 37 is where we're going to be, and in this chapter, really, there's only 3 brothers that's talked about, and as I was telling you earlier, we have the story of 12 siblings, 12 brothers, but there's really not a whole lot of information on all the brothers. It just kind of focuses on these 3, and Reuben, obviously, is the oldest. Joseph is almost the youngest, but has that kind of personality. And then Judah is mixed in there too, in the middle. So we're going to read through some verses, and I'm going to maybe not read through everything and not break everything down, but we're going to try to story tell this a little bit as we read through some of these verses and ask some questions. So Genesis 37, verses 1 through 3. I'll read this first one, and then somebody will be prepared to read 5 through 7. So let me read 1 through 3. And Jacob dwelled in the land of his father's sojournings, in the land of Canaan. This is the lineage of Jacob. Joseph, 17 years old, was tending the flock with his brothers, assisting the sons of Bilhah and the sons of Zilpah, the wives of his father. And Joseph brought ill report of them to their father. And Israel loved Joseph more than all of the other sons, for he was the child of his old age. And he made him an ornamented tunic. And his brothers saw it was he, their father, loved more than all of the other brothers. And they hated him and could not speak a kind word to him. All right. So who's Joseph? He's a tattletale, right? We get that out of that. Okay, perfect. Yeah, he rats on his brothers. How do you feel when one of your siblings rats on you? Right? It kind of stings. It kind of hurts. Like, what are you doing? Okay. What else did we just learn about this boy, Joseph?
He was the most loved of all his siblings.
He was the most loved.
A little spoiled.
He was spoiled. Yes. What else? He's not just a boy. How old is he? He's 17. Now, today, 17 is still like childish. Like, the children today, the prefrontal cortex still doesn't develop until 26. But in this era, what?
I said maybe 36.
This age, 17 is like, you're about marriage age. Like you're not just a child anymore, but you're still being treated as though you're a child. And your siblings, how do your siblings feel about you?
They hate him.
They hate him. They are jealous of him, maybe. They are incensed by his actions. They're not really happy with him. What did it say again? And they hated him and could not speak a kind word to him. What emotion does that describe, I should say, not define, describe. What?
Bitterness?
More. What's beyond bitter? What's beyond anger?
Resentful.
What's beyond resentful?
Contentment,
Keep going.
hatred,
Almost.
vilification.
What's just beyond hatred? Rage. You hate this person so much. You're so bitter. You're so incensed. What'd you say? You have so much contempt for this person that you have rage. You have so much rage, you can't even speak his name. That's how. But for some reason, this is the point of where we get. It doesn't give us the whole backstory of why they've gotten to this point, but clearly they've gotten just a few details to let us know they can't even say his name. They can't even say a nice thing about him. That's how much they dislike him. Verses 5 through 7. Who's got me?
Now Joseph had a dream, and when he told it to his brothers, they hated him even more. He said to them, "Hear this dream that I have dreamed. Behold, we are binding sheaves in the field, and behold, my sheaf, what is that sheaf? Sheaf? Arose and stood upright, and behold, your sheaves gathered around it and bowed down to my sheaf." Great.
So he starts having these dreams. And in every translation, my translation says, "Look, we were building sheaves, and look." And yours said, "Behold." Other translations say, "See." How many times does Joseph say this in describing his dreams? Like 3 times. He has to point this out, which is very odd in the text, because usually if I'm telling a story, I don't have to say, "Hey, look what I'm going to tell you. Hey, look what I'm going to show you again. Hey, look, this is you. Hey, look, this is me standing over you. Hey, look, I'm more important than you are in my dreams." Like over and over and over, he has to point out how his dream does what? Puts everybody else below him. Now, if you are already enraged by this person, you already have contempt and you're, angry with this person, how are you taking this?
Fuel to the fire.
You're not taking it.
It's fuel to the fire. You're envisioning that punching bag, just like, okay, I can't wait to get home, right? This is a problem. And it shows kind of how Joseph is just kind of enamored with himself. Like he's like emotionally not intelligent, recognizing like I'm saying these things, but I'm enraging and I'm building the fire here. It's almost as though he's so self-absorbed with his dream, the only thing he can pay attention to is himself. He doesn't recognize anybody else around him. And in fact, we'll skip this, but he has a second dream. The second dream is similar to the first dream. And he's so happy to tell everybody about this. And even in this dream, his father is bowing down to him. And his father's like, what are you talking about? Like, are you trying to say that I'm going to be below you at some point? Come on. And he's like, not having it so much. But we see in this picture, the very beginning of this chapter, Joseph is a 17-year-old, a young man, teenager, who's kind of been pampered maybe his whole life by his dad because he's the loved child. Hasn't really had to do much. He's 17 years old. And in the first couple verses, he's just now starting to learn the family business at 17. Go work with your brothers. Well, this usually takes place about 7, 9 years old. 17, he's been in the tents kind of hanging out. So it tells us another picture of this boy. Who is he? Let's skip forward to verses 12 through 14. Who's got 12 through 14? Somebody. Where's Alex? You'll hear this. Aaron, you got 12 through 14?
Why do we think that Joseph wasn't out in the fields when he was 10 or 7?
It's because it says it's only at this point where it describes him as 17, and his father now sends him out. Like at this point, he shouldn't have to send his Joseph out at this age. Like it's something he would have been doing much younger. And it's only at this point where it says the story defines for us that he's starting to work with his aunt's children, who are already the ones that are managing the flocks and the business. That's why the age 17 sticks out.
12 through 14.
12 through 14.
Now his brothers went to pasture their father's flock near Shechem. And Israel said to Joseph, "Are not your brothers pasturing the flock at Shechem? Come, I will send you to them." And he said to him, "Here I am." So he said to him, "Go now, see if it is well with your brothers and with the flock, and bring me word." So he sent him from the valley of Hebron, and he came to Shechem.
Great. So his father sends him out one more time to go, give a report. Are your brothers doing what they're supposed to be doing? How's it going? Like sometimes have you ever worked in somewhere? I remember working with somewhere I remember having a conversation with somebody who knew that the boss was sending an employee to just have conversations with them just to check on them. And everybody felt like there was this like, what is the word when you feel like somebody's always watching you?
Big brother?
Yeah, but what is the emotion that you're feeling? Suspicious, not skeptical, it's beyond that. Can't think of it right now. But it's like you're afraid. What?
That's
Paranoia.
Paranoia. Yeah, you're paranoid. Like of every conversation you have, because if I say this to you, are you going to go back and tell the boss? Are you going to go tell so here Joseph now is coming out to see how the boys are doing, see how the family's doing, see how the sheep are doing. And so how's this going to work when he's already come once and given a bad report and they already got in trouble, they already, were yelled at or whatever. Now he's coming again. How's this going to work out? Because the text is kind of like setting this up. What do you think is going to happen next?
You're gonna snap.
They're going to snap. Okay. They've had too much. Like, I'm just not doing this anymore. At some point in humanity, do we have limits? I mean, we've known people or even ourselves where we've snapped and we've just had enough and we've said something we didn't want to say. We yelled when we shouldn't have yelled. We had no patience when we should have had patience. We should have had grace, and instead we extended a fist. We've all kind of been there at some point. And the text is setting up like, this is where they are. And what happens next? Verses 18 through 21. And they saw him from afar. Here he comes. Here comes the brother. Before he drew near to them, and they plotted against him to what? to put him to death. Now, this says something about the brothers. So first it was they plotted against him, and then the next verse, and they said to each other, here comes that dream master. Okay, that's kind of a slam, right? It's not a compliment. And so now let us kill him and fling him into one of the pits, and we can say a vicious beast has devoured him, and we shall see what will come of his dreams. This is first-degree murder, is it not? It's not just rage and a passion. Second-degree murder or manslaughter where it just snaps and it happens. They see him from a far distance and they what? They plot. They come up with a plan. Here's what we're all going to do. Is everybody on board? Like, this is serious.
Wow, talk about a dysfunctional family. Huh?
Now, the oldest son, right? The son who already kind of blew it once and pissed off dad. He made a huge mistake. Who's that? Reuben. Reuben decides, I got to come up with a plan. My brothers are enraged. I have to come up with something to maybe save him. And so Reuben heard and came to his rescue and said, we must not take his life. And Reuben said to them, shed no blood, fling him into this pit, into the wilderness, and do not raise a hand against him, that he might rescue him from the hands and bring him back to his father. Here's Reuben thinking, okay, I have to get back in my good graces. If I save his favorite son, maybe then I can get back into his graces again, because I blew it as the firstborn. And as the firstborn, as we saw, is typically the parent pleaser. I want to please my parents. What I did was for the benefit of the family, but I screwed up. I gotta somehow find forgiveness from dad. So here's my plan. I'm gonna save the boy that he loves. I might not like him either, but I have to save him. But while he's gone, the other brother swoops in. 23 through 28. Anybody want to read that? Go ahead.
So when Joseph came to his brothers, they stripped him of his robe, the robe of many colors that he wore. And they took him and threw him into a pit. The pit was empty. There was no water in it. Then they sat down to eat. And looking up, they saw a caravan of Ishmaelites coming from Gilead with their camels bearing gum, balm, and myrrh on their way to carry it down to Egypt. Then Judah said to his brothers, what profit is it if we kill our brother and conceal his blood? 27?
Mm-hmm.
Come, let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hand be upon him, for he is our brother, our own flesh. And his brothers listened to him. Then Midianite traders passed by, and they drew Joseph up and lifted him out of the pit and sold him to the Ishmaelites for 20 shekels of silver. They took Joseph to Egypt.
Excellent. Judah, the messy one. You know what? I got a great plan. Let's not kill him because I don't want that guilt. None of us want that guilt on him. So I have a better plan. Let's sell our brother into slavery. Like, that's better. Like thinking like, okay, we're going to let him live, but now he's going to live as a slave for the rest of his life, maybe beat, tortured, who knows what. This is a better plan, right? Like, this is one of those, when I said a couple weeks ago, or I can't remember where I said this, but this idea, sometimes there's no right answer. Here, the brothers are plotting, and nothing that they plot is good. Not a single thing, whether they kill him, whether they sell him to slavery, and not only sell him to slavery, they're coming up with this great plan, like, we're going to make dad think that he's dead too. So we're going to take this lamb, we're going to slaughter the blood and put it all over his cloak and send it back to dad and say, see, is this your son's? This is all going sideways. And so here's Joseph, a 17-year-old, pampered all his life, now just trying to do what his dad tells him, and his brothers are enraged and hate him. They're ready to kill him, and they throw him into a pit. What's he feeling at this point? What are you feeling? What are the emotions that you're going through at this point in this journey of your life? What is going on? What are you thinking? What are you feeling? Anyone?
Probably shouldn't talk so much.
Are you reflecting at that point?
He probably thinks he's a victim.
Okay, there we go. Maybe he thinks he's a victim. Maybe he's thinking, what have I done? Why me? Why is this happening to me? What else?
Fear.
What?
Fear.
Fear. Okay, of what?
What's gonna happen?
Of the unknown. Who knows what's going to happen next? Have you ever been in a situation where you're trying to figure out, like, everything's going sideways and I have no idea what's going to happen next, which even brings me even more fear than where I currently am right now? What else? I mean, life was good. I've had 17 years of bliss.
I wonder if he was feeling like, am I not who I thought I was? Am I not as important as I thought I was?
Maybe, like, wait, what have I done wrong?
Right.
Like, why is this happening to me? I haven't done anything. Like, maybe he's just completely blinded by the fact that his whole life has been kind of this, like, bubble.
You don't think his brothers have been telling him the whole time?
Yeah, but come on.
Making fun of him,
Our-
calling him a tattletale, like...
Yeah, but they haven't actually taken significant enough action to get the point across.
Were they ever direct to him, or were they just, brothers being brothers and, like, calling him names? And
We
like,
only
they're
read
just
2
calling him
accounts of it, but you really think it only took 2 for them to get that mad? I feel like there's some backstory that we're missing here.
It could be, but the only story that we got is that they are so enraged, and he's still blinded by it because he keeps telling him these dreams that they're going to bow down to him. So either he's like completely dense, has no emotional intelligence whatsoever, or they're just passive aggressive and not being direct. Like, you can't be this way, and maybe that is because he's been a part of a family that their father loved, and so since the very beginning, since his birth, they've hated him. Because this mother was the favored mother. And so they were always brought up disliking him because he was a part of her family. I don't know. It could have been all of those things. But now he's found himself in slavery. Verse 36 of 37 says, but the Midianites took him and they sold him into Egypt to Potiphar. Potiphar was Pharaoh's courtier, his high chambermaid. So Joseph is sold, taken to Egypt, and sold to a powerful Egyptian. Now, let's skip a whole chapter. Let's go to verse 1 of 39. Chapter 39. Chapter 38 is not about Joseph at all. It's all about the messy brother Judah. But we pick up Joseph's story again in chapter 39. So skip forward. Who wants to read 1 through 6? Man, all right.
I got it. Now Joseph had been brought down to Egypt, and Potiphar, an officer of the Pharaoh, captain of the guard, an Egyptian, had brought him from Ishmaelites who had brought him down there. The Lord was with Joseph, and he became a successful man, and he was in the house of the Egyptian master. His master saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord caused all that he did to succeed in his hands. So Joseph found favor in his sight and attended him, and he made him overseer of his house and put him in charge of all that he had. From the time that he had him overseer in his house and over that he had, the Lord blessed the Egyptian's house for Joseph's sake. The blessing of the Lord was on all that he had and house and field. So he had left all that he had in Joseph's charge, and because of him, he had no concern about anything but the food he ate. Now Joseph was handsome in form and appearance.
Excellent. 6, yep. So he's a young stud. He's a young stud, right? He's a young, good-looking young man. And not only that, he's competent. He's good at his job. Everything that he does is successful. No matter what task he's done or what task he's been given, it works out really well. And who notices? The boss, Potiphar. He notices this. And what does he do? He entrusts him. He gives him more responsibility. Like that's kind of how life works, right? When you're good at something, you get more responsibility. And the more responsibility that you're good with, the more responsibility is given you. I mean, Jesus talks about this in Matthew 25, right? It is like this thing, like people get rewarded when they do something well with more responsibility. And with more responsibility, maybe comes more power, more money, more headaches, more stress. But that's just the name of the game. And so here, Joseph continues to be competent, and he earns loyal trust from his boss. And for the first time, maybe ever, Joseph feels like what I'm working at, what I'm doing, I'm successful at, and things aren't so bad. Things are okay. Like I'm a slave, but I'm a successful person in this environment. Things are going well for me. I'm not horribly mistreated. I've been given responsibility and leadership in this position, and it's going well. My life has changed. My life has finally, like whatever happened in the past and all the trauma and all the things that have happened, I finally worked these past couple of years to get to this point, and things are going well. Oh, but wait. Then what happens? I'm just going to read verse 7. And it happened after these things that his master's wife raised her eyes to Joseph and said, I want you. I want you, and I want you now. His boss's wife. Well, he's kind of this young stud, we said. Good looking. Pool boy. She's lonely, maybe. Maybe she's evil. Maybe she just wants sex. She sees this young man, the boss, his wife throws herself at him. What do you do? What do you do in this situation? It's the boss's wife. What are you supposed to do? How do I make a decision that is the right decision in this moment? Here I am. I've been given authority. I've been given responsibility to do all these things by my boss. And now his wife is hitting on me. My boss trusts me. I've shown him that I'm an integrous person. But if I don't do this, what will happen? But if I do this, what will happen? This is a test. A terrible, terrible test. And this happens multiple times through this story. Multiple times she throws herself at him until finally she creates this trap. She clears the room. There's nobody else in the house, and it's just the two of them. I mean, who's going to know? There's no other slaves. There's no other people. Everybody's gone. It's just the two of them. Who would possibly know if anything happened? I'm going to take away all the reasons why you can't do this. And Joseph says, no, I can't do this. This would not be right. She grabs his cloak, tries to force him, and he runs off. Maybe it's his only thing that he's wearing for some reason. It seems like he runs off naked at this point, but that's it. He runs off. She has his cloak. What does she do? She what? She lies. What does she say? This man attacked me. This servant of yours, this slave of yours that you brought into our house, that he's supposed to serve us and play with us, and he's my little toy, like he tried to take advantage of me. Here's the woman who and maybe in her shame or in her scorn of rejection, like, how dare you reject me? I will turn this and I will make your life a living hell. I will lie up and down because you pissed me off so much. Now I'm going to take it out on everything that you've done and everything that you are. Because that's how much rage I have that you rejected me. So what happens? Joseph is thrown back into prison. Verses 21 through 23. And he was there in the prison house. And God was with Joseph and extended kindness to him and granted him favor in the eyes of the prison house warden. And the prison house warden placed in Joseph's hands all the prisoners who were in the prison house and all that they were to do there. And it was he who did it. The prison house warden had to see to nothing that was his in his hands. The Lord was with him, and whatever he did, the Lord made him succeed. So as I looked at this story, I'm thinking, okay, wait a second. I've gone through this horrible family experience. I lived in a bubble. I can reflect, as you were saying, I can reflect now, and I lived in this bubble, and I lived this way, and my brothers, they almost killed me. And nobody in my family loves me. Nobody likes me. They all want me dead. So much that they were, instead of killing me, they sold me as mere trash to people. I do what is right. I do what's moral. I try to be an integrous person. I try to do what the God that my father taught me about would want me to do. And now this? Are you kidding me? I've been doing all the things that I need to do, and here I am. I am back in this cell, in prison. It was better in Potiphar's house. Now I'm like a lowly scum scraping the floors, and I get to be in charge of the scum scrapers. Great. What kind of a life is this? But this chapter is an interesting chapter because it, where is it? 39 too. Chapter 39 is like bracketed. It gives us a beginning and like these two bookends, and it says the same thing at both bookends. And what does it say in this whole story? Verse 2, it says this: and the Lord was with Joseph, and he was a successful man, and he was in the house of the Egyptian master. And his master saw that the Lord was with him. To the end of the chapter, verse 21 and 23. And he was there in the prison house, and God was with Joseph. The prison house warden had to see to nothing that was in his hands. The Lord was with him, and whatever he did, the Lord made him succeed. Joseph is thrust into these situations, which in some ways he didn't choose these. And maybe call it a situation, maybe call it a season of life, maybe call it a crisis, maybe call it a difficult chapter or a dark time in our life, maybe a valley. Some people describe this as the valley that I was in. Many of us have used these words for the situations that we've gone through. We look back, we question our decisions, we review our mistakes, we question God, we get angry with God, we become afraid. Where am I going next? We ask, where are you, God? How could you allow these things to happen? Why did you allow these things to happen to me? Yeah, just like Joseph. Sometimes we don't notice it. But God's been with us the whole time. He's been there the entire time. He never left. He never rejected us. And even though we don't notice it, even though Joseph may not have noticed it and may not have noticed that with his decisions of moral action, God was continually blessing in the crap storm that he was in, he was still with him in those moments. And there will be those times in life where we will encounter people who want bad things for us. Maybe it's an employee, maybe it's a coworker, maybe it's a neighbor, God forbid, maybe it's a family member, maybe it's an ex-relationship. We recognize we can't control what other people do or think or say. All we can control is what we do or say. Joseph reminds us that there's always going to be these bumps, these valleys, these dark chapters in our lives, whether they be hurricanes or tragedies or just evil people. Yet through it all, God is there with us, walking with us. And it's in this inner fortitude or this discipline, this obedience that he had through it all, which Joseph, I don't know, maybe came from an awe of God that he had to continue to do what was right in the despite of all the terrible things happening around him. He continued to persist. And through that, God made him successful every time. Maybe not immediately, maybe not exactly in that moment, but over time. There's one more video that I want to share. And I've shown a couple of these clips from the Kingdom of Heaven. If you've seen the Kingdom of Heaven in the theaters or on TV, I can almost guarantee you've never seen this clip because it came from the director's cut. Okay? So I'm going to show this clip and then I want to describe it.
I stare into the light until one becomes the light. I've done it many times.
There's your religion. One spark. A creosote bush. There's your Moses. I did not hear it speak.
It does not mean that there is no God. Do you love her?
Yes.
Your heart will mend. Your duty is to the people of the city. I go to pray.
For what?
For the strength to endure what is to come.
And what is to come?
The reckoning is to come for what was done 100 years before. The Muslims will never forget. Nor should they.
It's terrible that they didn't have this in the movie. Because it's only until this point that you realize this character has been in the movie the entire time, in every scene, and it's here that you find out he's what? Did you catch it? What? Where was he when Balaam turned around?
He was gone.
He was gone. Which means he was what?
God.
He was an angel walking with him the entire time, speaking to him throughout the entire movie, as though God was there with him throughout the entire movie. And here Balian's in a valley, a dark place, Everything around him is falling apart. Everything is terrible. What do I do? Questioning, there is no God. There's no religion. Everything is bad. See, there's your God. I can't trust anything. And the angel once again speaks to him. And he sees the burning bush that did not light by him. And he turns to talk to the hospitaller, and he's gone. And it's there he realizes God has been walking with me the entire time. And Balian is just a great example of this movie, that through all of the things that he had to do, his focus was always doing what was right, what was moral, what was ethical. He had these core values, these principles that he was willing to live by, that were grounded in God. And he needed that moment. And sometimes we don't get the cinematic moment to have a revelation that reminds us that God is walking with us. But this is these moments when we read this text, when we share these stories, that we are to be reminded God is walking with us. No matter what you are going through in life, questioning what is happening, the fear of the uncertainty, all of the things that you are struggling with, and all of the harm that is maybe taking place, like all of the stuff that is happening, God will never abandon you. He's always walking with you. And the choices that you make today, they will affect your future tomorrow. So your homework this week is to finish the story of Joseph and Jacob and Judah and Reuben. I want you to finish chapter 40 through 50. Just finish Genesis, if you can. Maybe we'll do a quick summary next week. We're going to start a new series next week as well. But that was the brothers. So, questions before we leave? Before we end? Anybody?
As a slave, did he have a choice not to sleep with the wife?
Well, he could have slept with her.
Right, but he's a slave, so can you tell your slave master no?
Well, it wasn't his slave. It wasn't his boss. It was the boss's wife. So yeah, that was that tough dilemma. And so maybe it was more of a moral decision of like, no, this is wrong. Maybe because you're married, maybe because you're my boss's wife, maybe because like, I don't know. The text doesn't say, but he chose to not do it. That's the choice. It doesn't give us the reason behind why, but yeah.
How was Egyptian culture?
How was Egyptian culture?
So I know Roman culture, men and women slept with their slaves, and it was just a thing. How was Egyptian culture in comparison?
I don't know. That's a good question. I didn't look at that up.
Would it be outside the bounds of any normal?
Extra credit.
It might not have been outside the bounds for Egyptian culture, but it was clearly outside the bounds for Hebrew culture.
She lied, so then it makes it seem like it was.
Correct.
Or
I would
she was
assume
just
that.
mad, and this is how she can.
Scorned woman. Yep. Scorned woman. Yeah, it could have been either. Uh-huh. There's a great line from the DC, nothing worse than the anger of a scorned woman, right? Yeah. All right. Anything else? All right. Let me pray. Father, we thank you for this morning. We thank you for this, for this moment to rest, this day that you have given us, that is for us to rest in you. May our focus and our attention not wander from that. May we remember that it's in this day that we get to encounter you personally. We thank you and we praise your holy name. Amen.